Paul was in 7th grade when the trouble started, or at least when the phone calls to his parents from the principal really started to pick up. He and his classmates had all entered middle school the year before, but only for a few hours a day, every other week, per the new COVID restrictions in his district. They'd missed all sorts of milestones: graduation from their elementary school, a summer of fun in between, and an orientation in person at their new school because of the pandemic raging around them. Most of Paul's classmates had never even set foot inside the main building before September rolled around. Any chance of making new friends from the other local elementary schools had slipped away within the first few weeks of 6th grade. If students were learning in person, they were all masked up and leaving before lunchtime. If they were on Zoom, not a single kid kept their camera on the whole day. They'd never even seen their new teachers smile in real life. Their faces had been hidden by masks. It felt hopeless and impossible to connect with new people and make a fresh start. By the time 7th grade rolled around, Paul and his friends, most of whom were left over from his elementary school days, had started making trouble. Small trouble at first, horsing around in the hallway, speaking out of turn in class, sort of normal 7th grade stuff, or so his parents thought. But then things started ticking upward. Various destructive TikTok trends were taking off in schools all around the country. Paper towel dispensers were getting ripped off walls. Horsing around in the hallways turned into full-body tackles, and bathrooms were getting trashed on a regular basis. Paul kept getting caught for petty vandalism, low-level violence couched as fun. His grades were slipping. Nothing dramatic, such as regularly ditching school, was happening, but his grades had been A's and B's, and now there were a whole lot of C's sprinkled throughout his report card. At home, things weren't much more hopeful. Paul was spending hours alone in his room, or if he did come out, he slunk around with his hoodie up, refusing to talk to his parents beyond a cursory hello or goodbye. The silence unsettled them. He could barely meet their eyes at dinner. When he came home from school, he'd climb right into bed with his laptop, saying he had homework to do. But he also seemed to be missing school assignments left and right. He was just so still all the time, his mom told me, as if he didn't have the energy to move his limbs. It was unnerving. His high-achieving parents were distraught. This wasn't the kid they knew. Something about the isolation many kids feel at that time in their lives. Things in middle school are, at best, hormonal, confusing, painful, stressful, and anxiety-producing, was causing Paul to act out in ways he never had before. One day, to the horror of his parents, they found out that he'd bought a real-looking fake gun and posted about bringing it to school on social media. His classmates had immediately told their teachers, and the school had gone into lockdown mode before 9 a.m. It was a joke. Of course it was a joke. The gun was just a toy, for God's sake, and he didn't even bring it in, he told his frantic mother. But that joke would get him expelled from school before noon that day. Why would he do such a shocking thing? Paul's parents wondered. It was clear that, despite his hiding under his hoodie, he was screaming out to be seen. Underneath his defiant facade, he was feeling powerless and purposeless, more alienated than integrated, his parents began to realize. How, in this nonstop, disorienting, status-obsessed online world, could he feel that he liked most parts of his personality, believe he had something important to contribute to society, beyond an edgy Snapchat post or a dumb hallway prank, or form warm and trusting relationships with others? These are the building blocks of flourishing, and they too often feel hopelessly out of reach for adolescents growing up today. It makes sense, then, that a languishing teen would rather experience the wrath of their principal, the disapproval of their parents, and the humiliation of getting kicked out of school, than the deadening sentiment of feeling nothing at all.